Yeah, first of all, I just wanted to thank Mark, Lindsay, Mario for taking the time today to take a few minutes to help welcome me to Lemoyne. I couldn't be more excited about this opportunity, to be honest with you, for a number of different reasons. I feel like I'm a great fit for this institution. I align, my value set aligns so closely with Lemoyne, and that became very evident during the entire process. For me, it started back in February when I took a visit to campus prior to even applying. When I found out about the job, I wanted to learn a little bit more about the institution. I felt the best way to do that would be to get on campus and get a feel for it and walk around and see if it would be a match. And I was able to do that by just, I thought I'd drive around campus and drive back and head back to West Point. Instead, I find myself on campus for the entire day and talking to athletes and students and different staff members. And it really became evident to me that the things like greatness meets goodness and excellence with integrity, and those were all real. They weren't just fancy buzzwords on a website. To me, they resonated deeply, and they were part of this amazing culture that's being nurtured on that campus every single day. And that really was the initial draw to bring me to Lemoyne. And then, just having the opportunity during the process to meet people like President Lemura and Bob Beretta and members of the president's cabinet. They're just tremendous individuals and people that I really found attracted to and had wanted to have the opportunity to work alongside.
How difficult is it for you stepping into this? I know you're not stepping in until May, but I'm sure you're going to have your hands on it until the time that you step in. But it's not an easy time right now. Athletics aren't being played at Lemoyne. You're not sure if a spring season is going to be played. How difficult will this be as you walk into the job here?
That's a great question, Mario. And I think, I'd be lying if I told you I knew exactly how difficult it was going to be. I think we're all challenged, and we're challenged here at West Point in many of the same ways that the athletes are challenged at Lemoyne. My daughter, Julia, is a Division I athlete at Sacred Heart University, and I live it as a parent as well as an administrator. And my heart breaks for these young people without having the opportunity. And I think right now we just have to manage it one day at a time, really, because it's such a dynamic environment. It's ever changing. And for us, the best we can do is prepare for the best that we can with the information we have at that point in time, knowing that it's so dynamic. I mean, we look what we just went through here during football season, and really right up until the bowl weekend when we thought we were going to head to Shreveport and we had to make an audible within 12 hours and go to Memphis. It's dynamic. I wish I had a better answer, but I do know that the leadership at Lemoyne deserves a tremendous amount of credit, led by President Lemura, in the job that they have done in containing virus up there on that campus and allowing those students to attend on campus in classes throughout the semester was phenomenal. And I know that many campuses across the country cannot state the same. So I think it'll be a priority for, obviously, President Lemura to try to return a state of normalcy the best that she can, but without question, the health, safety, and well-being of our students, student athletes, and the entire Lemoyne community, and the entire Syracuse community is going to take priority. So I think we'll be steady and safe every step of the way.
Bob, you're at the military academy for 35 years. Why make the move now?
Well, 34 years, so, one less. No, thanks, Mark. And I received that question a lot during the interview process. And I anticipated that. I'm a little bit of a unicorn in collegiate athletics these days. Usually people, they jump around, and I found a home here. I found a home here right out of college. I attended St. Bonaventure University. It was a product of a faith-based institution, Division I athlete there. Came home. This was home for me. It was home for me before I started at West Point. I grew up an Army fan, and I was fortunate. I was blessed to have opportunity upon opportunity to grow here at the academy. And why now? Well, I think it's more of a calling from Lemoyne and the fit than anything else. I've been very selective in applying for jobs throughout my career. Only a handful, very, very few. And it was going to take a very special opportunity to make me consider leaving West Point. And Lemoyne, to me, is a very special opportunity. It reminds me in so many ways of my undergraduate experience at St. Bonaventure. And I drew a great number of parallels between the military academy and Moyne during the interview process. And I think initially it sounded strange to people to hear me say that, but West Point is all about service. That at the heart of what we do, we're about service. We're about service to the country. We're about service to this nation and the young people that will go on to lead our nation's sons and daughters in battle someday. That is the foundation of what West Point is: duty, honor, country, and service. And I felt very similar, a very similar mission at Moyne, in that the Jesuit faith is based on service. It's about a higher mission, about being part of something larger than yourself and advancing the program for the greater good. And all those things resonated with me. They resonated with me while I was an undergraduate student athlete. And it certainly was a main motivator for me every day that I'd get out of bed here at West Point. I knew that I had a higher mission, and I felt a very similar draw to Moyne. And when it comes down to Mark, it really comes down to fit, I think. And I just felt very comfortable. I felt very comfortable on campus. I felt very comfortable throughout the interview process. And I felt extremely comfortable with President Lemura and her cabinet and the entire Moyne athletic staff, from the head coaches to the executive staff there in place. It just came down to fit, and it just felt right. And I felt like if I didn't pursue this opportunity, it was something that I would regret the rest of my life.
Bob, I know you mentioned to answer Mario's question when you were saying, that obviously things are different right now because of COVID and sports aren't being played. But when you do look at the sports that Moyne offers, and I think first and foremost, everyone thinks of lacrosse. I mean, these are national championship level teams year in and year out. And then the basketball programs are very good in their own right. When you look at the sports that Moyne offers and just how competitive they are on a national basis, I mean, how attractive was that to you?
Very much so, Matt. I would be less than honest if I told you that didn't play a role. But not only the competitiveness, it was also having an opportunity to meet the coaches. Coach Sheehan, what he's done is amazing. 5 national championships, his reputation in the industry. It doesn't matter if it's Division 1, 2, or 3. If you win 5 national championships, he asked me during the interview process that if I got the job, if he was going to have to salute me. And I told him, Coach, you won 5 national championships. I should be doing the saluting to you. And I know that Coach Belleville has done a great job there as well. The basketball programs, Coach Castelli, I've been so impressed with Coach Castelli. She was on the search committee, and the work that she's done there is amazing. I know Nate Champion is one of the top young college coaches in the country. So all 4 of those programs. But beyond that, I just saw that Coach Tesori in golf, what a phenomenal award that and very deserving. And it goes up and down. I can't wait to work with the baseball and the softball programs. But, I think more than anything else, and I talked about fit before, Matt, for me, the opportunity to get back on a campus and develop these granular relationships with student athletes, it is so motivating to me. It is so attractive to me. And it's difficult here at West Point because our young people are very structured. Their days are filled from 5:30 in the morning until 11:30 at night. And it gets very difficult sometimes to develop those relationships. So to have the opportunity to come back on a campus similar to my experience as a student athlete and develop those relationships and have these wonderful programs that have long histories of success and tremendous individuals at the helm of those programs, very, very attractive to me, Matt. Thank you very much for that question.
So I was curious. I know you mentioned the pandemic issues a few minutes ago. Moyne is a Division II school. Obviously doesn't have to rely on NCAA basketball tournament money to fund its whole year. But everybody from Division I to junior college is feeling financial pinch. And it's probably too early for you to jump in and do a survey of where there's money pinches. But from a financial standpoint, what's your early assessment of maybe the challenges a school like Moyne faces because of the current economic situation?
No, that's very true, Lindsay. And it's right. It's all relative, whether it's Division I here at West Point, whether it's one of the Autonomy 5 conferences in football where they're losing $50, $60 million. We were a bit insulated from that at West Point. We did suffer losses, obviously, through non-attendance at our football games. And that's a huge revenue stream. Very different. I understand that at Division II level. And particularly at an institution without football. But I also know there are challenges, and I know that every dollar saved is a dollar earned, and we're going to need to be very fiscally responsible to the institution, to the athletic program, and to the community. And I think part of my challenge and part of my responsibility that I'm going to embrace will be trying to find new revenue streams wherever possible, whether that's through the donation route, whether that's through corporate sponsorships, whether that's some real creative things that have worked here at West Point that might translate positively at Moyne. I know without getting too deep in the woods, I know that every institution in the country is challenged right now financially. There has been a financial impact by this virus like none other. It's an unprecedented time. We know that. And so without maybe diving too deep into the specifics, I can tell you that one of my top priorities will be to help generate revenues through new and creative streams. I've had a great deal of experience in all those areas here at West Point, from operating our development office to corporate sponsorships to just kind of being new and creative, cutting edge. I think being innovative, and I know that that's big at Moyne, right? Innovation is one of the key considerations there, and I like to think that I'm also very innovative, and we're gonna take a lot of swings at the plate, and we might miss a couple of times, but we'll hit some home runs too. And I think that that's going to be very important for us to be creative and innovative throughout this.
Is it fair to say you're confident that all the current programs can be retained, or is it too early to say anything about that?
Well, I think it would be unfair, Lindsay, for me to comment on without knowing the financials. But I will tell you this, as a brand new athletic director, as a former student athlete, as the parent of a Division I student athlete, and as a former head coach. I served 1 year as our head softball coach at West Point due to some interesting circumstances. The last thing that I would want to do would be to come in and cut a sport. I think that is devastating for the community, devastating for those young student athletes that you're eliminating opportunities, and it cuts against everything that an athletic director wants. We want to create opportunities, not eliminate opportunities. So I think it's premature for me to say anything definitively because I just don't know yet, and I really won't start until May 1st officially. But I can tell you that I will be motivated at the highest level to retain our program and its whole, right, in its entirety right now, because those are opportunities that you can't get back. Those are opportunities for student athletes that are they're life-changing, honestly. And you see what schools go through when they eliminate sports. It's devastating. It's devastating not only for those student athletes impacted, but it's devastated for all those that came before them and all those that might be considering afterwards. And I think that has obviously a negative impact on enrollment, and that's a big part to sustainability. So we'll look to create opportunities every chance that we can, and that would be an absolute last resort, at least from where I stand, without knowing all the specifics. Now, having said that, again, I'm not completely versed right now in where we stand financially, but creating opportunities is much more aligned with what I would like to pursue as opposed to eliminating opportunities.
I didn't realize that, Lemoyne's only had 4 full-time ADs in 75 years. So when you settle into that chair, it's usually a pretty solid position. In college sports, generally everybody knows everybody. You've been around a long time. Did you have any connections to the Moyne or any of the previous ADs? I'm sure you've talked about any connections at all to Moyne in your past?
It's interesting, Lindsay. When I started this process, I didn't have a great connection to Moyne. I hate to say that. I've been here 30 years. I do recall early in my career one winter evening when Coach Beeline brought his Moyne basketball team down to West Point, and they beat us at Crystal Arena. I remember Coach Rockwell coming in here to West Point with his baseball team and beating us many times at Doubleday Field. But I didn't have great ties. I had 2 very close friends that were former athletes at Moyne and graduates. So when I began the process, I talked to them about it, and their passion came through immediately. One is a Hall of Fame member, Randy Desiderio, on the basketball team there back in one of the Hall of Fame teams, and she was very helpful for me. And Kim McAuliffe, I know Kim McAuliffe very well from back when we were both sports information directors many years ago. But I learned an awful lot in a short period of time during the process, and it really began when I came up there on that unofficial visit, if you will, when I kind of was incognito walking around campus that day. And it's funny, as I went through that and started considering Lemoyne, I was in a meeting about 2 weeks later and with some folks from Legends, and there are two prominent Lemoyne graduates on that staff. I was not aware that they were Lemoyne graduates until the meeting that day, and we got talking, and they said they were both Lemoyne graduates. So then all these strange coincidences started coming together and kind of led me to think that, yeah, I need to look into this a little bit deeper. And what resonated with me the most, Lindsay, was no matter who I talked to about Lemoyne, whether it's a graduate, a student athlete, a staff member, a coach, and I'm sorry, my phone is ringing, so I'm going to hang up on it. What I was saying was, what resonated most with me, but no matter who I talk to about Lemoyne itself, the passion just flows through. They love the institution. They have the utmost respect for the program, for the school, what it's meant for them in life after Lemoyne, and helping develop them as a whole person and helping progress their lives on a professional front. So yeah, that really resonated with me, in that everyone feels so passionate about this institution, about the athletics program. And I want to be part of that, right? I mean, passionate people attract passionate people, and passionate institutions, help attract young people for a great many reasons. And for that, I was very excited about the opportunity to join this family up here.
We all understand that you don't get your hands on things until May, but how feasible is it, looking out, that a lacrosse season is going to be played, a baseball season is going to be played, and even there was hope that, these basketball teams could play a couple of games? How feasible is that with the way that Lemoyne has been able to, kind of curtail the spread, so to say, on their campus?
Right. Again, Mario, I won't start until May, so I won't be completely immersed in the decisions and those discussions. And I know the Northeast 10 Conference will have its own guidelines, like our conferences here with the Patriot League, and we are trying to work within those guidelines with the health, safety, and well-being of our student athletes first and foremost in our minds. But I think my expectation is that we at Lemoyne will do everything in our power to execute those seasons in the healthiest and safest manner possible. And if there's any way possible that we can execute and provide those experience to our student athletes while keeping them healthy and safe and safe throughout this process, that we will. I know that President Lemura is so committed to the athletics experience, as is the entire board. I think, and also another point that helped attract me was they understand the mission and how important athletics plays in that role. It develops the whole person. It's life-changing. It was life-changing for me. We talk about providing a comprehensive excellence in everything we do, but providing an extraordinary experience to our student athletes. That I talked about that throughout the interview process, and I firmly believe that. And, the only way you can provide that extraordinary experience to its fullest extent is competition, right? I mean, athletes, that's what they do. Athletes are competitors and they love to compete. And it's our charge, if at all possible, to provide them that opportunity, that platform to do what they love. But we also have to be very mindful that we need to keep them healthy and safe. And that will always be the first priority, the highest priority for myself as an athletic director. And I'm sure that I know without question, that is the highest priority of President Lemura and her cabinet.
Bob, you mentioned baseball, and I know you were a former Division I baseball player. And, of course, Lemoyne used to be a Division I baseball team. Any chance that's in your future thinkings or plans to bring them back to Division I, or is that just not going to happen?
Well, I wouldn't rule out anything, Mark. I think part of this for me will be to learn, to listen and learn, particularly over the first 100 days. I mean, my plan when I start in May is to engage as much of the community as possible. And that means the internal constituencies and also the external constituencies. And I want to look and I want to learn and I want to listen and I want to meet with our student athletes. I want to meet with our coaches. I want to meet with our graduates, our staff, our administrators. I want to meet with some community members, some folks that have that historical and institutional knowledge that I don't have right now. And I would be very disingenuous to say that I do. I don't. but I will do my best to learn that over the first 100 days and continue to gain as much information as possible, and then move forward with hopefully an educated path ahead for President Lemura. My goal would be to provide her with a 100-day report with at least preliminary findings and some thoughts, but I really can't comment on that right now with any level of intelligence, because it would not be fair to any involved. But I can tell you that I want to look at everything. I want to go up to Lemoyne with an open mind. I want to listen. I want to learn. I want to hear the passion. I want to feel the passion. And then we're going to explore, and we're going to consider all elements, and then hopefully provide a plan that best suits the needs of the institution and the community.
So by not ruling it out, you're saying if the coaches, if the players, if the community that you find out supports a potential move back to Division I, that wouldn't be against anything that you would believe in.
Again, I would go up with a very open mind. I know that there's been discussion, and it was touched on a little bit during the interview process, about where do we fit? Where does Lemoyne fit? Do we fit at Division I in certain sports? Do we fit at Division II? Do we fit at Division III? And I just don't know. I just don't have that level of intelligence right now. I don't have all the data points that I would need. But I would go up, and I will go up with an open mind to everything, and listen to those folks that have that institutional knowledge, and listen to the people, and listen to the pros, and listen to the cons. I am a big risk reward person. I weigh almost all of my actions in life, risks versus reward. Where is the risk? Where is the reward? I love high rewards, even if there's a little bit of risk involved. But I also I'm very risk averse when it comes to the institution and President Lemura. I can tell you that. So, we'll talk about a lot of things. I'll learn an awful lot over these first 100 days. I'll talk to people that have lived all of this, and we're going to try to define what I called in the interview process the Lemoyne way. And I said, we'll find what the Lemoyne way of doing things is, but I can tell you the foundation is going to be based on service, comprehensive excellence, and an extraordinary experience for our student athletes. So we'll try and take all that into account. Again, the highest priority will always be the health, safety, and well-being of our student athletes, but that comprehensive excellence piece will resonate throughout, and we'll do so by trying to provide this extraordinary experience to our young people.
Bob, you already mentioned you're a proud alum of St. Bonaventure, so you spent some time in upstate New York. But I guess tell me what you do know about Central New York and Syracuse specifically. And if you don't know a whole lot about it, that's okay. I guess what does excite you about moving to this region of the state?
Yeah, Matt, thank you. Actually, an awful lot. So I grew up here in the Hudson Valley. I grew up 40 minutes north of West Point. So this is home for me. I used to come to watch Army football games as a youngster with my parents, with my dad, and this was home, watching Coach K coach basketball games. And then I went to St. Bonaventure, and I met who would become my wife, Jennifer Johnson Beretta, and Jen is from Clinton, New York. We were married at Hamilton College. So I would say clearly the Hudson Valley is my home. The next largest amount of time that I've spent in my life has been in Central New York, because my father-in-law still lives in Clinton, in 45, 50 minutes away from Lemoyne. And we have many family members living in the surrounding areas there. And I have my wife's sister lives in Oneida Lake, and we have nieces and nephews scattered all throughout Central New York. I also have great friendships up at Syracuse University. Sue Edson, Rob, before he passed away, great friends of mine through my former life as a sports information director for many, many years. So I made several trips up to the Dome over the years in a different role. Great friendships up there. Obviously Colgate, not far away. So while I'm a Hudson Valley native through and through, my roots reach into Central New York, and this made it very attractive as well. I have family up there. I love the area. I still coach a travel girls softball team, and every year we take a trip and do a tournament up there in Liverpool. So I have fond memories and fond experiences, and really looking forward. Now, if you guys can keep the snow to a minimum, I would enjoy it even more. But I don't think that's in the cards.